Yo, what's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby. And guess what? I got a surprise for you. Man, people thought that I just gave up on Cyber Dragons or I forgot about them. Man, you guys gotta just acknowledge the fact that this channel is like, it's getting requests on a daily basis. And I have way too many decks right now and so many profiles that I need to do. So it's not like, if you don't see a deck on my channel for a while, it's not that I forgot about them. It's just that everything else that I'm putting up right now has been in demand, and you have to prioritize your requests based on a chronological order. So yeah, we really haven't got a chance to do updates on Cyber Dragons for a while, but it's not like I haven't been playing the deck. I've been playing the deck a lot. I mean, Cyber Dragons are just awesome, dude. They're a really strong deck. They really are. And as I explained in my other build, which is a YCS ready build, you should check that out on YouTube on my channel. They have a really strong matchup against the meta decks, and it hasn't changed. The meta literally hasn't changed. It's the same. The best decks at that time are still the best decks right now. They've been running strong, and this deck's really powerful. It has an elevated ceiling, in fact. We're going to go into the main deck. I'll explain my choices as I go along, as I always do. Let's just have an open mindset when you're coming into this for this Cyber Dragon deck profile. So let's get it, you guys. So starting off with 3 copies of the OG Cyber Dragon. Enables a lot of your plays. It's very imperative for your machine dupe combos to keep at least 2 in deck at all times. That's why sometimes Cyber Repair Plant can be really clutch for that specific interaction. It obviously gives you spot removal. People have like an ultimate Falcon and they're like, yeah, this dude's unaffected. You special Cyber Dragon, you contact fuse. This dude, it's like surprising how many of the boss monsters that just literally can't be destroyed by card effects in battle and are unaffected by this and that a Cyber Dragon you can just clear just by special summoning them. So yeah, just that alone, the fact that Cyber Dragons can get over monsters that are unaffected by card effects is actually really powerful and gives them a higher ceiling than most decks. Because some decks automatically lose to a Ultimate Falcon, like if they just can't beat over it, which is really strong. Specifically, just talking about how Cyber Dragons can deal with it. They're really strong with breaking boards as well, if that wasn't obvious, right? And then we have 3 copies of Core. Now, this card is extremely dangerous, dude. Core is the most deadly of all the Cyber Dragons in the deck, because he enables a myriad of different plays. 1 core alone can break an entire established board, and he can also produce, 1 core can also produce an OTK. 1 core can set up a disruption by itself, so he's a 1-card disruption that can potentially pop 4. You know, he's a 1-card OTK, he's a 1-card board wipe. He enables so many plays. He's an extender, he's a starter, he's a follow-up, he's a recovery. He's literally the entire deck, actually. Like, Core is so dangerous. Like, when I say, like, I've literally just cleared boards, just normal Core, uses effects, search cyber emergency, or cyber repair plant, whichever one I don't have in my hand. Contact fuse, clear a threat, special summon, search cyber Elton off of the spell that I search off him, specially wipe an entire board. That's all done with 1 core. 1 core. As long as you're allowed to search, you can clear an entire established field of just insanely powerful monsters. They're like, oh, I have 3 Chaos Maxes, just for example. You clear them all with 1 Elton, it's insane. And you have to play Elton. Like, that's what makes Core even more powerful. And in the mid to late game, like, when you're going for your push, you can just search Cyberload Fusion, and it's game over. Like, I've gamed people with the Elton and Core combo, where you just special Elton wipe their field by banishing 2 Cybers from grave. You normal Core, search Cyberload Fusion, you contact fuse into Seeker. I'm sorry, you link with him and Cyber Elton into Seeker, you activate that Cyberload Fusion, shuffle him back, summon your Rampage. It's game. You're literally attacking for 42 3 times after you've cleared back rows and wiped their entire field. So you cleared all their monsters, all their back rows. Like, Core is just so powerful, bro. Like, I'm telling you guys, like, it's so insane, dude. It really is. Like, Core is just such a beast of a card, man. And we play 3 copies of hers. Now, hers, for me personally, is my 3 extra copies of Core. That's the main way that I use them. I'm always using him to loop my Core. Once you start looping your cores, you can really keep your resources up, because this deck can't plus as heavy as most decks. In fact, most of the times when you're done with your combos, you have way less cards in your hand than you started with. It's not like Sky Strikers that can just plus so hard, plus so heavy. And Thunder Dragons can't really plus like that, and Guys can't really plus like that. But the thing is, the resources that those decks have, they have access to pools of resources that Cyber Dragons can't always access, and that's why hers is really important for this deck, for the simple fact that it just kind of plays around Colossuses. It gives you your resources back. It allows you to loop your core so you can grind with just 1 core. And of course, the cute chain blocking plays, and the fact that it's another name that you really need. I have used its effect to make it level 5 a couple times, but it doesn't come up as much as people think. We also play 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier. This is your obligatory honorary Cyber Dragon monster, basically. It just fits the theme of the deck. It fits the playstyle and everything. Cyber Dragons are really good against Sky Strikers. It can go 50-50 because Widow Anchors can be a pest. But that's why I feel it's really important to main deck that Kaiju. I played a build with 3 Kaiju's main deck just for a Sky Striker hate build, but then coming to find out, like, it really wasn't that necessary. Like, there are so many ways you can beat that deck. You have a pretty solid Altergeist matchup because their best Floodgate doesn't even hurt you. And also, if you really are scared of Secret Village, which, other than obviously main decking Evenly Matched, which is an incredible blowout in that match out, you can just play Clara Ruska if you really needed to. But the most important thing is that your Rampage can literally clear all the back row of Altergeist, and it's so easy to bait their protocol because they're always going to use it on core every single time. So yeah, you're really good against Altergeist and Sky Strikers because I'm speaking from experience. And your Thunder Dragon matchup is one of the weakest matchups and the most difficult because sometimes the way you need to break the board is to search in the first place. That's why I crafted my main deck specifically for the weakest matchup that this deck has. And now moving forward to the hand traps, we played 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring and 3 Cypher and Gear Gamma with, of course, the driver. Now, the reason why I chose Gamma to main deck, because I was going to do Bells. Don't get me wrong, Bells are great. But the Bells were really supposed to be for my worst matchup, which is Thunder Dragons. You know, there are matchups that Cyber Dragons can struggle, but I mean, as far as meta decks, Thunder Dragons is one of the toughest matchups for this deck. So the reason why I chose Gamma over Bell is because Gamma can counter what Bell can counter in the first place, because what you're using Bell on is the Hawk. Hawk is one of the strongest plays in that matchup. If you negate the activation of Hawk, it never happened. Well, Gamma can not only negate the activation of Hawk, but it can negate the activation of Dark. It can negate the activation of Roar. It can negate the activation of the actual Titan itself trying to chain block with the egg. It can negate the activation of the egg. It literally stops every single interaction in Thunder Dragons is all monster effects. Their combos are all based on monster effects. Gamma can kill anything. So Gamma is better than Ash Blossom or Bell because it can hit anything, even the niche cards like, for example, oh, I discard my egg targeting my Battery Man Solar just so I can have a discarded effect so I can start spitting out Colossuses. You Gamma it and it never happened. And Ash Blossom is obviously good against Roar and Dark, so I just find that these are better in the Thunder Dragon matchup specifically. And yeah, that's just me though, you guys. So I main deck these 6 monster hand traps, and then of course I have you know, Evenlies and Permanences as well. So I wanted to keep the hand traps on like a high count, but I didn't want to go too hard on them and just like maximize on playing more hand traps than I play combo pieces because the deck can already brick. Then we have 1 copy of Vire, 1 Eltonin, and 1 Jizukiru. It's going to hurt my feelings if I see you're playing Cyber Dragons and you're not main decking both these monsters. I literally preached so elegantly about how good these cards are in the main deck in my last Cyber Dragon deck profile, and I still don't see enough players main decking both Eltonin and Jizukiru. I said it so much in that profile. They either play one or the other, but never both. These both solve problems. This solves your Thunder Dragon problem, and this solves your Sky Striker problem. These literally, you have to main deck them because the weakest interactions that you have against those decks, that's what they're going to solve. You can lose to 1 Widow Anchor on your core. You can lose because you can't search. This clears the Thunder Dragons without even destroying. And even though it's a 1-of, I've considered bumping it. A lot of the times what you normally end up doing, which I've done a lot, like you can clear their field just with the contact fusing, and then Cyber Eltonin just finishes the rest. Like I've done it with the dupe combo, just dupe a Hearse. And then I made Nova and Infinity use Infinity to absorb the Colossus in the main monster zone. And he tried to chain the egg thing to chain Titan. And what I did was I just let the egg resolve and I just negated Titan instead. And I don't know why he didn't just do it on the dupe. But then I used, after I absorbed the Colossus in the main monster zone, I used my Infinity to contact fuse with his Colossus in the extra monster zone. And that counts because to make Mega Fleet, you need a Cyber Dragon monster, and Infinity falls that category. So I cleared both of them without even searching, and then I was able to just activate Repair Plant, search out this guy, and I just finished cleaning the entire board up. It was really strong, and I still ended with an Overflow, which is even more insane. But yeah, you have to main deck this card. It's just so broken, you guys. It actually is broken, and I'm not exaggerating. Being able to send all other monsters on the field to the grave is really powerful. Non-targeting, non-destruction removal, and it can become a beater. And it's searchable. It's crazy. And then Jizukiru is just so insane, you guys. So that's it for the main deck. Those are all the monsters that we're playing. Before, I was playing Reapers because the FTK was around and Firewall was legal. Now we don't need Reapers because Firewall is banned. And I'm considering playing Joes in the main, but right now I'm signing them because, like, everybody's, like, they exaggerate. Like, literally everybody's not playing Dangers. Like, it's not like just the format is just defined by Danger.decks. There's a lot of dangers. That's why you still want to have Droles somewhere in rotation. But I'm considering maining the Droles just because, like, Trickstars, I've been seeing them. They've been seeing an elevated play. And then there are some rogue decks coming up that rely on searching a lot, like Cyber Dragons included. Starting off with our spells, we have 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Oh, yeah, you're going to crucify me for this. I've always played 3 Repair Plant. back in the day before we had emergency, this was the main way we had to play, and I've always maximized all my consistency cards. And then somebody's going to say, oh, you're going to play Thunder Dragons and draw both of those. Oh my goodness, I knew you would say that comment. Anyways, just because Thunder Dragons exist, I wouldn't cut my consistency cards for the fear of that matchup. Thunder Dragons are not the only deck that exists, and I'm not going to make my deck less consistent just because I'm scared of a specific matchup. And I'm playing against that matchup, and I feel that I'm going to be drawing too many of these are easy side outs. This is too easy to set up. Repair Plant, they say, oh, you have to have set up for it. It's hard once per turn. Like, it just, I've never had a bad experience with Repair Plant, ever. Like, I've always played that 3. I'm just that crazy Cyber Dragon player that actually thinks that 3 Repair Plant is a good number. Like, it's literally so good. It's searchable off of core. I don't want to waste my searcher on another card just to search. I want my core to directly search something, and I want this to directly search something so I can get more combo pieces to finish my turn off strong. So we have these 6 searchers, which this actually conveniently searches out Galaxy Soldier and Jizakura, which Cyber Emergency doesn't. And then we have the 3 machine dupes. So normally, when you open with machine dupe plus any of these spells, that's a combo. And if you think it's hard to get a Cyber Dragon monster engraved, then you just don't play Cyber Dragon. So Repair Plant's always live. I've never ever had it in hand where I couldn't get a Cyber Dragon monster engraved. Like literally, it's super easy. Contact Fuse, you got one. Just dump one, you've got one. Galaxy Soldier, you got one. Open a Cyber Dragon monster, you got one. Open an emergency, you've got one. Like open a Foolish, you got one. It's too easy, bro. But anyways, machine dupe is insane. Like when you have any of these 3, any of these 6, or just any of the other 6 targets being core or her. So you have 12 ways to make machine dupe live, which ultimately results in it being a very good card. More often it's a good card in your hand than it is just a brick, because it does require a situational setup, but it's really easy to do in this deck. And yeah, I'm also crazy because I play 2 rev system. I invented my own combo with this deck that relies on 2 rev system, and I really like keeping it at 2 because I love that combo. Like, that's really cool about Cyber Dragons too. You can create your own combos. You don't have to copy other combos from other people. You don't have to be like, can I please get a combo video so I can figure out what your combos are? You can create your own, and that's what makes it more cool. We have 1 Overload and 1 Cyberload. I just find that this has been the correct ratio for me personally, just in personal experience. I really only need to resolve 1 of these just to go for the Rampage. And I still think that Overload sometimes is better than Cyberload, even though this is searchable, which sometimes you just can't set up for it. Because Overload actually can give you more pops effectively off of Rampage than this can, because you're not always going to have a ton of banished. Normally you have like 2 banished. But with this, you're going to have a lot of cards in your grave a lot of the times. And when you can just banish 4 to 5 and get that Rampage to just clear an entire back row, that's insane. So I just think this is correct. And then we play the 1-for-1 and the Foolish. These can also fix some of the problems with setting up with Repair Plant. And they're just insane one-of, like, very high-selling cards. They normally, when these are in your hand, if your hand was bad, it's going to become better just because they're in it. That's it for our spells. Now for the traps, we play 3 impermanents in the main deck and also 3 evenlies. Because this deck can really struggle against set 5 pass back row decks that play specific floodgates, like there can only be 1 and crap like that, evenly can be a blowout, because even if they just want to keep that 1 floodgate that was keeping you from playing, their field's cleared, they have no more threats, they have no more monsters that can pose a threat to you, and you can easily just clean their clocks after that, and Overflow is the final trap that I'm playing. My other list played 2, but I was really realizing thoroughly more and more, every time the second one came up, I just reset it off Griffin. Like, I was rarely ever searching the second one off of core, because normally when I resolve the first one, the next Cyber Dragon core I resolve, I search Cyberload Fusion because I'm trying to get that push in. And Rampage actually gives you follow-ups as well, just dumping the Herzes so you can get your cores back from grave to hand. Now for our extra deck, we play 1 copy of Seeger. I find it's really correct to play 1. It's easy to recycle and loop. We have 1 Cleave for our Genius. Really helps go on second, turning off Colossuses, which again, that can be a really hard matchup. And then 1 Hippo Shinigen, still correct to play, because there is a cool combo where instead of just going insanely deep into the combo with Summon Sword, you can just end on Hippo Shinigen with Cyber Dragon Infinity and Pleiades, which is 2 interruptions. If you have the Overflow, it's 3. And then Summon Sword, it's the combo that normally leads to the Griffin. The Griffin board is just the best play. So you don't always want to just go into this willy-nilly, because this is your Kurute Mon, it's the beneficial Kurute Mon of the deck, and it's one of the strongest plays you can make. So you want to make it in the best time possible where you know it's elevated the ceiling and it's guaranteed going to be enough to get game. And then 1 Borosword. When Rampage fails, Borosword will not, I promise you. And Borosword also solves that issue going against Thunder Dragons, because Borosword, even if they protect themselves from being destroyed, Borosword can easily just game them anyways, like just ensure damage output. We play 2 Infinity and 2 Nova. I've always felt that this is the correct ratio to play. Nova is just so good. It's so insane in this deck. We have 1 copy of Pleiades as the other generic, as the only generic that we play. Not really generic, but generic for this deck, I would say. You can play Volk and other rank 5s like that too, but like they're niche and they don't come up a lot. Durandal could come up if I was main decking Dro. People are going to ask in a comment, why don't you play that? I know that combo exists. And then the Chimera Tech family, I've always kept it at 2 Mega Fleet, 1 Fortress, and 1 Rampage. You have to play a Fortress because the Fortress is just so high ceiling. Not just when you give them a Kaiju and Contact Fuse with it, but when you run into a machine deck, this is your, like, this is going to be your win condition against those decks. Like, when you run against machine decks like Cosmos, when you run against, you know, ABCs and stuff like that, just having this in your extra deck just literally gives you a better ceiling in that matchup than most decks. And then Rampage is nuts. Like, even if you can't OTK, he's going to give you your core back by dumping hers. And then for the side deck, we side the Artifact package because, you know, we want to go second all the time. So if people make us go first, we have the Artifacts for them. They can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! You OTK them next turn. 2 Trap Tricks because I only have 2. Otherwise, I would play 3, making 6 Artifact Sanctums. 2 Rivalries. Gozen is good too, but I just find that because it's so good against Dangers, I specifically chose Rivalry over Gozen, even though Gozen can hit Altergeist and, you know, it can hit Strikers. But honestly, guys, Strikers really struggle against Rivalry, Gozen, and there can only be one. Either one of those floodgates just keep them from changing their links. But Rivalry is just so broken against Dangers. It's just a really strong card. 3 Reboots, because I just really hate when people flip specific floodgates to stop me from playing or hit me with that there can only be one. I reboot them in OTK. So, like, for Geist, you reboot them, they're dead. This is an OTK deck. Cyber Dragons can kill you out of nowhere. They do a lot of damage. And then 3 Droll and Lockbird. This is specifically for the Dangers and the decks that really just rely heavily on searching. I just side this. I didn't feel comfortable maining it because I knew that I would end up getting paired against, like, Ultra Geist or getting paired against Thunder Dragons, and they're not always going to be crippled by Droll. The Danger Thunder Dragon variant can be hurt, but it's like, because Droll's not good against literally every deck, I just felt that I didn't want to main it, whereas Ash Blossom and Permanence and Gamma are good against any deck, even Ultra Guys. Like, Gamma Multi-Faker from hand is just nuts. Like, it's really strong. And normally, like, I would play Omega for the Gamma, but what I normally end up doing is I just use the Gamma to go into Hippo Shinogen if I resolve it on my turn. But normally, it gets resolved on my opponent's turn. And that is it for the Cyber Dragon deck profile, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let's check the timer. Oh, yeah, we're 17 minutes in. God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content. You folks have a beautiful day. And if you want to see combos and test hands, I already have them up on the channel. This build, the only modifications I really made, the difference between this one and the other one, is the hand traps that I play have changed. But for the most part, this is nearly the equivalent of the build, minus a couple modifications for main and the side deck and the extra deck. But this is practically the same exact build. So if you want to see combos and test hands, I have this great combo tutorial for Cyber Dragons and test hand videos for them and dual seeing them in action. So, yep, that's all I have for you guys tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get some rest for work tomorrow. Peace out, yo.